Hello. I am back. This code window here seems to be properly working this time. I'm going to move this window over here. I'm going to set something because I did reboot, and so now I don't have my things properly set up, but there we go. And we've got our VS Code. Are we live? Are we not live? Are we live? We seem to be live. Yes, we are live, and everything seems to be working. And we have an app. Actually have an app. We actually have something on screen. And yeah, my stream is very laggy apparently, but that's okay. That's cool. Hopefully we can still drop. Yes, we can still drop. That works. And yes, reboot fixes everything, as Andrea said in the chat. Why don't I see this thing live? Where do I have such a lag? Anyway, I have my app running. Yay! It is running. I wish I didn't have that much of a lag to monitor, but I don't know why. Try and refresh that. So this is the app. This is a book in which we can write expenses. Alright. And if we go in that book, then we get a list of expenses. So what we can't do right now is click on that and edit it, but we can add a new expense. So this expense needs a description. So let's say, I don't know, gas, right? And let's say we paid 110 francs. Person A paid for both of those persons, and then we select that date, and then we can save this, and it appears here. What we can do also is share this book. So we can click on share here, and it's gonna give us the opportunity to share this book with the code, which is 66FNH for this one. We can copy that. We can use, well, Flutter is actually looking into the apps, and we can use Telegram or send that message or things like that. Those are people I can share stuff with, but I'm just going to copy the code. Well, actually, I don't need to copy. I know I'm gonna have a look at it on my Firebase console, Firebase real-time database console. I'm not going to show on stream because there are some URLs and stuff, and I don't know how sensitive that is, so I'm not gonna show my real-time database on stream. But I can see the code, the share code in there. So I'm going to do a fake sharing. Hey Gak, welcome to the stream. Hello. So I'm going to fake a sharing of that, and in order to do that, I'm going to change some stuff in my Firebase database that you're not gonna see. If I can do that, but apparently I am not. I can't modify that. Why can't I modify that? Come on. What's my? Oh, I see. That I can't modify. Okay. That's okay. I can go in there and say, okay, you are not the owner of this book. And so now if I restart my app, I should see no books available because I have removed my... Need to... Yes. Alright, refresh my app. There we go. No books. No book found. Create your first book. But we're not going to do that. We're going to import our book, and we're going to use the code that we saw earlier, that is 66FNH, and we're going to import that. And there we go. We have our book, and we found our expenses. And from now on, when it's going to be implemented, because it's not... oh, yes, it is already. Yeah. No, I'm saying wrong stuff. From now on, if I add an expense in this book with this user, then the other user, which I'm sharing this book with, will see the expenses too. So that's things. Those things are working. So I have a list of things I want to work on, which I am. So I think I can show that on stream. Problem. It's on my GitHub. So let's bring that window here. And that's what I want to show. That's what I would like to work on. I want to bring that to version 0. Fix expense to use the actual person names. Okay. Chrome has decided to not be very helpful. Right. So the problem here is that when I go in a book and add an expense, then it says person A and person B instead of the actual name of the person. So let's try and fix that. And go to VS Code. Right, so we don't need that to be that big. Actually, we don't even need that at all. I want to go there. There we go. That's in the expense form. That's here. I believe that we have person A and person B in this somewhere. Right, so paid by and paid for are two functions, and there we are. It says person A, and it really should say state dot book. No, it can't say that because we need to do some more stuff. Okay, so let's see. When we initialize an expense, we have the book ID here, and we have a block provider, and we initialize the expense from Qubit, and we give it the repository. We need to load the book. We need to load a book because we need the name of the persons, right? So we need to do a .load book, and we've got the book ID. We need, of course, to implement that. We need to create that method, but that method is really easy because it's going to call provider, repository dot load book. Hold on a sec. That as a function that, get. So repository.get, and that takes a UID, so I'm gonna have to pass the UID, and I don't want some then stuff. The book equals a weight. That, okay. So that needs to be a future void, and it's going to be an asynchronous function, and then we need the UID of the connected person. Sorry. So on the expense form, I'm gonna pass context dot current user ID, which is an extension method that I have written, or I thought I had written. Well, actually, I know I have written that. It's current user. Yeah, it's current user ID. So why is it not working? Okay. Oh, okay. Import library. Right. Okay. And then it says book ID. Too many positional arguments, right? String. I need string UID. There we go. I find it really annoying to have to set future void on async method that don't return anything. It's a... I think you don't have to. I'm not sure you have to do that. Do we have to? Let's see. I can do that. You don't have to say future or void. You can just let it empty. And I think it will default to being a future or void. No, it's a dynamic. So if you don't use any, well, it's a future or void anyway, so you can't use it, but you can just let it empty. Oh, some of your linter rules complaints. Alright. Yeah, I just prefer to have a return type and future of void, or well, future thingy void is yeah, it's, you know, it's a habit now. Alright, so I can get this book, but what I'm really interested in is the name of the persons. So when, let's see, when I create that, I will need in the form state, I will need the name of the persons, right? So I can then here emit a new state. Come on. I can emit a state copy with, and that's gonna be that's gonna be something entirely different. But I now need to have this required this dot person A required this dot person B. Yeah, it's not. No, actually, I need to add that here. Final string person A, final string person B, right? And then go here, control dot make a data class. There we go. Oopsie. So now I need to provide those names, but I don't have those names. So person A is null and person B is null. Is this gonna work? No, of course not. Then it's gonna be empty string. Oh, just person A. And that's the initial state, so it should never be seen anyway. Comma in here, and it doesn't like that. Why? Why? Oh. That's the... Yeah, there we go. That's it. Okay. Then we load the book. And when we load the book, we copy the state with person A. Thank you, GitHub. Person A and person B. Let's see. If I create a new thing. It did not work. That might be because we need to restart the app. I don't know. I added a function, so probably hot reload doesn't work. We need to do a hot restart. Maybe. Okay, let's create a new thing. Oh. Of course. I'm gonna need to change that in here. Right? Because otherwise that's not gonna work. So that's state.person A, which cannot be const anymore. That's gonna be state.person B. And I'm gonna add the commas where they're supposed to be. So this is neatly indented. That was the paid by function thing, and then we need to do the same for the paid for. So that's state.person A, and that is state.person B. Alright, let's have a look. Yeah, Alice and Bob. Awesome. Awesome. Food 23.49. Alice paid for Bob, and that's gonna be tomorrow. Cool. Alice paid 23.49. Right, I think it's time that we introduce the balance of those things. So who paid for who owes what to whom? Maybe whom, I don't know. So where do we want the balance? We probably want the balance here on this thing, on this screen. But then maybe instead of Alice and Bob, we could have Alice owes that many to Bob, or the other way around. Bob owes that amount to Alice. Maybe we can do that. That's one way of doing it. And definitely here, I think we should have a balance somewhere. Maybe as the last element of the list, balance. I don't know. Let's see how my... oh, I know how the app that I'm using, I'm currently using and want to replace with, is doing that. It has... It doesn't have the balance on the list of expenses. So I think we can get rid of that. We don't have to put the balance in there, I think, as long as it's in there. And the way they do that here is that they have 2 lines with the name of... Well, they have as many lines as people, but I only have two people sharing expenses. So I think I can just go with Alice owes 126 francs to Bob. Something like that in here. Which means the balance will be held on the book itself. I'm good with that. Okay. So let's see. When we create an expense, we should have... I was going to say we should have the details. So we should already have a balance per expense and then just sum everything. But wouldn't that introduce errors? You know, if 2145. If we divide a double by even by 2, it could introduce rounding errors. So I'm gonna start with that. I'm gonna start with adding a balance on each expense, and so the book. But each time I add, remove, or edit a balance, an expense, I would compute the book's balance. One thing you could do is, if there are multiple people with access to a single book, is have the label then be owned by me and owed by me instead of each name. Yeah. A book can be shared between 2 persons, and that's it. That's all. Person A and person B. So here, that's always gonna be 2 names here. No matter what, if this is Alice, if this is Alice's phone, and Alice is sharing the expense with Bob, So that's always going to be Alice and Bob on here, even if Bob doesn't have the app and the book is not shared with Bob. So I can easily say Alice owes 120 francs to Bob, because I know I'm not going to have Alice, Bob, Carol, Dave, and Elise, you know. So it can be shared. No, it actually it can, right now it can be shared between more than 2 people, but it's only going to be shared between 2 people, and it's only to share expenses between 2 people. So I'm not sure if I want a book to be shared by more than 2. That I can easily change the database structure for that. But here, when you create a book, let me show you. I'm going to create a new book. This is a new book. You can only have person A and person B. That's it. That's all. This app is to share expenses between 2 people, and that's all. That's never gonna be more than that. So if we have Carol and Dave here, then there we go. In this book, that's always gonna be Carol and Dave. That's always gonna be Alice and Bob, and so it's easy to set the balance here. Alice owes so many francs to Bob, and Carol or Dave owes that many francs to Carol. So that's the easy part. The less easy part is, do I keep a balance each time I create an expense? Like food, Alice paid for both Bob and Alice. So Alice paid $23.49, but then she owes half of that for that expense. And so the balance for that expense would be $11.98 from Bob to Alice. Bob owes Alice $11.99 for that particular expense. And then I would add everything, and I would have the balance for the whole book. Or I can just don't do that and just update the balance with, and doing the calculation while I iterate over the expenses. I think it would be less heavy on the phone for the computations if we were to compute the balance for each expense and then just sum everything. And so the balance, it's going to be I need to always use the same method. So I'm going to compute how much person B owes to person A. It would be less resource heavy to compute balance only once instead of when printing each expense. Yes. So when the expense is created, I will compute the balance for that expense and save that in the database. So I don't have to... Oh, I see what you mean. To compute the book's balance every time. Yes. That is true. That is true. So every time I add an expense, I update the book's balance. That's it. That's an even better idea. That's an even better idea. Okay. Okay. So the balance will be how much person B owes to person A. And we can just switch the label. Alright, so let's dive into it. Expense form. When we create the expense, it's in the action, it's on the save on press. If form validates, await context read expense from Qubit create expense. So my guess is it's gonna be somewhere here. And when I create expense, I call repository create expense book ID expense. Okay, so that's gonna be somewhere here. So here I update the expense. I need to update the book also. So how do I compute that? It depends who paid. So I need to get the book. I need to get the book. Bar book ref equals shared book. Nope, that's not the one. That's gonna be a user bar user. Come on, GitHub, I know you can do it. Thank you. Except that's book ID. Not at all. Not at all. I need the user ID. Okay. I don't have the user ID, so I'm gonna need the user ID here, which means I need to pass the user ID here, which means I need the user ID here, which means I need to pass the user ID here. Context.current user ID. There we go. Now that's done. Right. Okay, I have the user ID. So user book ref, yes. User ID, user books, user UID, book ID. Okay. Okay. I might have a problem. Oh no, I see. Oh yes, that's what I need to. I need to load the copy of the book from the user to get the share code. To get the shared book. It's a bit complicated because of the rights, you know, on the Firebase Firebase real-time database. I have set up rules that a user can only read and write their own books. So there's actually three copies of a book inside the database. So the owner has a copy of the book. The person the book is shared with has a copy of the book, and then there's a shared copy which has all the correct information. But in order to get to the shared copy, I need to load the book, and that here ensures that I have access. Well, I say the connected user UID here has access to that book. If that doesn't throw an error, then I have access to the book. Then I can, and actually that can be final. Then I can create a user book ref snapshot, yeah. Snapshot, await user book ref.get, and now I'm going to get that, yes. User book snapshot value as map. Okay, because what I want, all that for that, I need the shared code, a shared link equals user book.share link, and with that share link I can now do that, and then that, and then that. I love GitHub Copilot. I love GitHub Copilot. So I have the shared link, and now I have the shared book, and that book has the correct information, and the balance will be the correct one. I can see a problem. Because when I load the books, I don't load. I have a problem. I have a problem. Okay, here's the problem. Let me create a new file, because I'm not gonna show my database instance, but I have user books under which I have my UID. So UID 1, and then I have book ID, right? And then I have my key value, right? So if user 1 shares a book with user 2, Then we're gonna have the same book ID here and potentially different values for some of the keys, not all, right? And then we have shared books over here. And then we have a shared code. And then under the shared code, we've got a key value. And that represents also a book. So I'm going to make that a little bit clearer by having so let's say title my first book, right? And that is going to be the same here, and that's going to be the same here, and so on, right? So that's the same book. User 1 only has access to whatever is in there, right? It can only read their book. So if this user has another book, which can happen, so if this user has a second book, right, and this user has another book too, but that's book 3. So now user 1 can when I open the book thingy, so this screen, it reads the books from there. And in one query, I can get everything. Now, user ID 2 has access to this, right? And when I share a book, then I use this here. When I create a book, when I create the book 1, I create this shared code and I put the book data here. And then when I import the book, I read whatever is under that shared code and I copy that to my second user. So far, so good, right? But when I'm gonna want to compute the balance, I'm gonna want to write that here. Okay? Which is good for that user. And I can even write it here. I'm gonna have the right to do that because of the way I set my. No, I don't want to share that. The way I set my Firebase rules. But then I would want this one to be updated too, right? Because when user 2 connects, I want them to read that. So. Hello, Monica. Welcome to the chat. So I think we need to compute the balance every time. That worries me a little bit because if there's a lot of expenses to share, then it might take a long time. And I don't want to... Do I want to do that? No, I don't. I probably don't want to... I want to avoid making too many queries to the Firebase database. So what I don't want to do is, okay, user 1 has book 1 and book 2. Let's go and make 500,000 queries to get book 1 and book 2 each time, right? Because I can do that in one go here. As soon as I show the screen, there's one query and that's it. I'm done. So do I want to update the balance every time? I actually don't know. Maybe I can do that only the first time. Or... Nah. I don't know. Or I was gonna say I just show the balance here, but no, I definitely need. Maybe it's because my Firebase database structure is not good. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem. I don't really see how I can fix that. So let's say you know what? Let's say we're going to compute the balance every time we show this screen. Okay, for version 0, it's gonna be good enough, right? And then when I make my first $1,000 with that app, I'm going to fix the damn thing. But right now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to compute the balance every time I display this book. That's my story, and I stick to it. Okay, so let's save that as somewhere. Yeah, userbooks.yaml. Why not? It's not really a YAML file, but anyways. Okay, so I'm going to speed up the process though, because I'm going to store the balance of each expense so that I only have to do a sum when I display the book. And that's gonna be good enough. So let's remove all that. Don't need that. How are you, Monica? I saw that you had plenty of work planned ahead with the Ubuntu on Air channel, so that's great. I might, try to pick a subject or two in that. As I said in the chat, I don't know if you read that. If you hook me up with the right people, I'm up for interviews on my Tuesday slot on the Ubuntu on Air channel. So if you want to, if you want, it's always the same thing. If you don't want to be like canonical people showing canonical people, maybe you can use me as the community talking to canonical people. I don't know. It's just a proposition. You do whatever you want with that. Back to our business. All right. Let's see if everything looks great on the stream. So let's move on. We have an expense. Okay. Who paid for who and how do I compute my balance? I said I want to compute the balance as how much person B owes to person A. And if actually person A owes something to person B, it's going to be a negative number, right? So if expense dot paid by person A, then something else. We're going to need a double balance equals 0. Why not? Okay. If this thing has been paid by person A, then was that a shared expense? So there's still the case where we would add an expense paid by person A for person A. I don't know if I want to take that into account, but let's try and do that. So we are covered for that. But it's been paid by person A. Okay. So if expense dot paid for person B and expense paid for person A, then we should split the expense in two. Else, if expense paid, not expense paid for person A, Okay, let's think here. So this is paid for person B and person A. We have another case which is it's paid for person B and not for person A. We actually have 4 cases, which could be it's been paid by person A for nobody. That should be an error. We should not be able to to add that. Actually, let's go to here and add a card. Do not allow an expense to be saved if no I don't know how to call that. Do not allow an expense to be saved if paid for the same person. It doesn't make any sense, but expense or if paid for nobody. It doesn't. It's probably not proper English, but I understand what I mean, so that's great. Okay, let's see. We're not gonna take anything else into account just yet. So if the expense is paid by person A and paid for person B and person A, then we split. Else, we don't split. Because we're going to assume that we can't save a bogus expense. Else, right, else this has been paid by person B. So, well, we actually we have the same thing. So that means we can probably just limit our cases to that. All right. So if the expense has been paid by everyone, then the balance is going to be expense dot. No, GitHub. That's too much. You're trying too hard, GitHub. Yes, so that's gonna be amount divided by 2.0, so that it's a double. It's a double number. But is it gonna be plus? So it's gonna be plus if B owes money to A, right? And B owes money to A only if it has been paid by person A. So we should do something like pay expense paid by person A. If that's the case, 1, otherwise minus 1 times the amount. That should give us the proper amount. If that's paid by person A, then it's gonna be half of the amount as a positive number, which means B owes half of that to A. That's great. And is that enough? Is that enough? Yes, that is enough, I think. I think it's enough. We'll see. And otherwise, if it's not paid for both people, then we're going to assume it's paid for one people. Okay. And we're also going to assume. Oh yeah, my Discord has been. I turned it off. I rebooted my PC earlier this afternoon, or even this morning, and I haven't restarted Discord. Oh yeah, did you guys have that chat about that thing that we need to do on that day? So if it hasn't been paid for 2 person, then we are going to assume it's been paid for 1 person, and it has been paid for the other person. You know, if someone pays, then it pays for the other person, right? So the balance is going to be the amount, and that's actually gonna be exactly that. So if person A paid for that amount, then person B owes that amount. Yeah, that seems okay. You stuck at spelling. Yeah. Monica, did you know that you could do exclamation mark, drop, and then an emote? So if you do exclamation mark, drop, and you use one of those fancy emotes, you can do that, and look at that. Every day is a school day. Alright, so I have the balance of that particular expense as how much person B owes to person A. Will that give me the complete balance? We don't know. We are going to see. We need to store the balance with the expense. So we need to move that up. All right. Then we have the expense. Then we copy. What? We copy. When we create an expense, we copy. Oh yeah, because we created an object that is not stored. And now we need to add stuff to that expense. Yes, so we need to go in there and add a final double balance. And I don't want that to be optional, so I'm going to create a data class with that. And it is not working now. Why? Because from Firebase map, I don't need that function anymore. That's a stuff that I thought I needed, but I do not. Sadly, drops are once per target, so you'll have to wait for it to reset or use reset drop. Yeah. There you go. I am going to add here the balance. All right, I'm going to create that, and I'm going to do that. Okay, now I have a problem because this is creating an expense with no balance. So we're going to add 0 as the balance of this thing. That's the... Why is the qubit? Oh yeah, it's creating that. Oh. Oh, thank you, Slim DevOps. Welcome, guys. 17 viewers. Oh my god, that's my biggest viewership ever. Hello, Big Pod. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Peter. Welcome. Hello, Eric. Welcome. Danny, welcome. I will guess that Slim DevOps is actually Martin. So welcome, Martin. Welcome, Beren Camlot 666. Thanks for the follow, Linux Paul. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. Oh wow! Look at that. 91.32. Well done, well done. I am very well, thank you. Despite having been in extensive contact with the little angel who has been positive to COVID, I am COVID-free. Yay! Thanks to my Viking genes, as they have been called. So what are we doing here? For those who have never been there before, we are doing a Flutter app that will help share expenses between two people. Why two? Because that's my use case, and I have used many apps, and they are all good, but a bit complex when there's only two people, because you have to create stuff, put names and weights and how much, how many, who is participating and all those things. This is going to be a very simple app, right? You pay. So let's create a new expense. No, that's a new book. That's not what I want. Let's create a new expense, right? You have a description, so grocery, and then an amount. So we paid 125.25 francs, and who paid? Only one of two choices. Who paid for who? So this is currently allowed, but it's not going to be allowed in the future. This is also allowed, but that's not going to be allowed in the future. If someone pays, then that's for the other person and maybe for that same person. So that's either 50-50 or 100. So that's really easy, right? And then we can save that, and that appears here. And what we were doing right now, we were computing the balance of each of each expense in terms of how much person B owes to person A, in order for us to display that on this screen. So that's what we were doing. And let's see, I have saved an expense in here, and I have a balance in my Firebase real-time database that I'm not going to show on stream, not knowing how sensitive those information are. But you can trust me, I now see the balance of that last transaction we added. This one, grocery. I think I need to add something to tell, we know that Bob paid for that, and given that Bob owes money, the Alice owes money to Bob, I would say Bob paid for Alice. And so I have a feeling I should have that written in here. Bob paid for Alice, something like that, or Bob paid for both. Yeah, I need that. So I'm going to do that because hey Phil, welcome to the chat. Yeah, I think I need that. So let's go and update the expenses screen, which is somewhere here. That is the expenses screen, and we have plenty of. Well, we had code actually. I had that, so let's put that back in. Paid for is empty. If state expense index paid for person A, and paid for is state.book.person A. And if state expense paid for person B, paid for and person B. And then I should have a where is the, there we go. So that's paid by, and I probably need to do that for paid for. I think that should be enough. Yes. Alice for Alice and Bob. Alice for Alice and Bob. Alice for Bob. Bob for Alice. I'm going to make that a little bit shorter because if we have both, we can just have both. Paid for both, I mean. Because if we have long names... Hello, Wimpy's World. Welcome. Or welcome back, I should say. Now, you can all see that both GAC and Community Time are actually using the exclamation mark drop plus an emote. And that will do that, which you can drop your own emote. That's what we got. Yeehaw! I'm sharing that because it's fun and I just learned that tonight. Right, so where did I say that? Okay, so what's paid for? Paid for is that. So if state expenses index paid for person A and oopsie and person B, then paid for equals both. Alright. Else, if state expense paid over person B, paid for that. Else, paid for equals person A. And I think that should do it. Alice for both, Alice for both, Alice for Bob, Bob for Alice. There we go. So we now have that information. We know Bob paid 125 francs, 0.25 for Alice. What we don't have is the balance for those because they are old expenses and they don't have a balance yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually delete them from the database because I don't have a delete function yet in the app. And so now we only have balances, expenses with the correct balance. Let's see. Now if I go back to my first book, that's the only balance I have. Great. I have a Stream Deck button which sends the drop command for me in my chat and picks one of my emotes at random to use every time with it, and it was such a nice addition to the shortcuts. Nice. Nice. Reset drop. And redrop. Go, feel. Come on, people. Drop. Alright. Let's create a shared expense and see if the balance is properly computed. So let's say we paid 25 francs for Netflix and Alice paid for both Alice and Bob. So we should have a positive balance of 12.5 francs for this expense. Let's have a look at the database. And yes, we do have that. And let's try another one. We're going to say, I don't know, we're going to buy Marmite for 125.69 francs. And Bob got that for both. So we should have a negative balance for that expense. And half of this number, which I'm going to round because otherwise I won't know if it's properly computed. Let's go to the database again, not showing that because of sensitive information. That didn't work at all because the balance is 125. So that did not work. So why did it work for the positive one but not the negative one? I wonder. Maybe the Marmite just can't be shared. I'm sure that's the problem. As of recent, it also works with animated emotes as well. That will be fun to have an animated parachute. You don't share your Marmite. Yeah, I had a feeling you wouldn't do that. So let's go to book repository maybe. Yeah, that's where we compute the balance. Let's put a breakpoint in there and do that again. Marmite, 125 francs paid by Bob for both Bob and Alice on that day. Save that. It didn't even went through that. Okay. So I'm guessing hot restart. hot reload doesn't seem to work. Next best thing is hot restart, and if that doesn't work, cold restart. Then again, John has no interest in stealing it. Yeah. I should probably have a look at my app. Alright, so this expense is wrong. I'm going to delete it again, and I'm going to try again to share an expense. Let's do something else. Broccoli. 125 francs of broccoli. That's a lot of broccoli. Hey, welcome to the stream, Alcon96. I don't want to buy followers, so I'm going to... yeah, I've seen that. Hold on. I'm going to invoke my administrative powers. I'm going to kick that person in the butt. Oh, it's already done? Did you... Nah, thank you, Monica. Thank you very much. See, that's quality mods in the chat. Thank you. So we did stop now, so it's better. And we do, so balance is 0. The expense has been paid for person, by person. Oh, I'm an idiot. That's paid for person A. Right, let's restart that. In case you don't know, that's my my meme on this channel. I'm an idiot. Somebody I know has a "my password is test, by the way" meme on their stream. I won't say names because I want to protect their anonymity. But if you know who I'm talking about, then you're in the secret. But on this channel, the meme is "I'm an idiot." Yeah, which is true most of the time anyway. So I need to remove those broccolis from the database. Because who would want broccolis, right, in their database? Let's go in the book and create... No, not that. And create another one. What can we buy? Like, I don't know. Beer. 124 francs worth of beers. And then we do that. And then we do that. And then we save that. And then the expense is paid for person B and for person A, which is... right, and then the balance will be, come on, balance, and then the balance will be minus 62. Yes, indeed. Person A, which is Alice in this case, owes 62 francs to Bob for the beer. All right, so that seemed to have worked. So we have a balance everywhere. So now we can go back to this book, this screen, and we need to compute the balance for that. Drop Wimpy Smile. Did that work? Did it drop the word Wimpy Smile? Or did you actually try to use your emote and it didn't work? You can actually select the emote from the emote selector, I think. I don't have access to your emotes. I don't know why. I don't know. Because I'm looking at my channel emotes. If I go to that, then I can... yeah. So I can do that. I can do that. There we go. Yeehaw. Ah, okay. So they've not been... yeah, I've heard people complain about Twitch taking a long time to approve emotes these days. 25.03, that's not bad, but that's also not very good. Home screen. I'm looking for the home screen. Which is here. Alright, yes, so there we go. This screen is gonna have to be refactored at some point because it's still using a single child scroll view with lots of stuff that I have refactored, but it's going to do it for now. Where do I put the balance? For now, I want to just compute it. So I'm going to do like something like book.balance. Balance. Okay. Which doesn't exist just yet. So let's go to book. Book is a book. So we need to grab the models and go to book. Right. And now what? For now, and I know that's not gonna scale, but for now, I'm going to do that. Double get balance. And for that, I want to return 0.0 day. Probably don't need that. And so now if we go to that screen, everything is at 0. Okay. So oh, nice. The Alcon account is now officially suspended from Twitch as well. Nice. The only report Twitch actually handles really fast, usually minutes within of report and Alright, that's great. We have contributed to a cleaner environment on Twitch. Unfortunately, for each ban, bot, or spammer, 10 more appear. So, alright. I need to get the expenses linked to that book. So do I have a repository? No, I don't. Oh, that's gonna. Oh, that's. Ooh. I'm gonna have a problem. Because how do I compute the balance of that book? I don't have... The book doesn't have a provider, and the book doesn't have the list of expenses. How do I get to the expenses from that? I'm listening to this while I practice Trackmania Stadium. Good for you, Wimpy. Is that the one on Epic Games? Trackmania Stadium? I have officially reported 25 of those accounts so far, and they have all been suspended, so even if it's just one less, it's a good day in my book. Yes! Yes, every day you suspend a spammer is a good day. On Steam, okay. Okay. Does that require like a GTA, an RTX 3090 to run? Same as Hot Wheels thingy? I'm a bit disappointed that I can't run that game. So I'm gonna have to make 1,000 francs with my apps so that I can buy a GPU. So once this app is in the store, I'm going to send that for 100 francs, and I count on you all to buy one. Each of you buy one copy. So I can quickly make 1,000 francs. Thank you very much. Runs on the potato. That's great because I kind of have like a potato. Practiced on Tuesday night and racing on Friday night. Oh. All right, I can't do Friday night because I'm doing this on Friday night. I can't do Tuesday nights because every other week I have a community stream on the Ubuntu On Air channel. Next Tuesday, with Andrea, we're going to do some more kernel shenanigans. Monica, if you could shout out to the Ubuntu On Air channel. If you're still there, thank you. Right, so how do I compute that balance? I think I might be screwed. How do I load the books? The qubit is reading... The qubit has the repository and then it loads all the books. So when the qubit loads the books, it actually calls repository.getAll. Right. So it gets all the books, but that's exactly what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to... Well, actually, if we think about it, one user will probably not have like 100 books in their app. They're gonna have like maybe one or two. Probably one. You know, you go on vacation with someone, you open one book, at the end you pay the bill and then destroy the book. You're probably not gonna have like 100 books opened. And let's be realistic. I'm probably gonna have like 10 downloads of this app anyways. So for version 0, again, I can do that. And when I realize that I've got more downloads than I expected, I can fix the damn thing. So books.sort, and I sort that by ID, which is probably stupid because it should already be sorted by ID, so I probably don't need that. This has been a super fun series, and you can watch the previous 2 on our YouTube channel. Yes, it's very fun. I learn a lot of stuff, and Andrea is having a lot of fun doing that. So, how is the GPD Pocket 3 work progressing? I saw some images on Twitter, and it looks like it's going good. Well, I think you can watch the VOD on Wimpy's channel, which we're gonna have a shout out. Wimpy's World. Okay, so back to our problem. What we need is iterate over each book, get the expenses for each book, iterate over each expenses, and compute the sum of the balance. Something like that. So we probably won't use a map function or a for each function. We're going to do for final book in books. Yes, except it's gonna be something like final expense. I officially love GitHub Copilot. Too many positional argument. One expects get expenses, only expects a book ID, and then it's not working because the ID could be null, except it's not. And we know that because we just loaded the book from the database. Alright, we've got the expenses. Now we need to compute the balance. So we're going to do something like fold. The initial value is 0.0, so that's gonna be the previous value. That's gonna be an expense. And we're going to return previous value plus expense dot balance. Expense singular dot balance, and that's gonna give us a balance, but not the global balance. So that's not the book balance, that's the expense balance. And we need... the book doesn't have a balance yet. Does the book need a balance? It needs... Yeah, it needs one. But it needs a balance property so that we can print it on the screen. But we're going to ignore the value of the balance in the database. That's exactly what we're going to do. So where's my book? My book is here, and did I already add the balance in there? No, I didn't. So let's add a final double question mark balance. Thank you for the follow, Astarta0, I think. Thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. Let's create a data class with that. Okay, so we have the book, right? But the book repository is complaining because what? Why are you complaining? What are you complaining about? Something wrong in your life? Just tell me about it, and I'm going to try and fix that for you. What's wrong with you? Let's go to the problem view. And I think that might be the problem. Yes. Okay, so we can't do that because that's a maybe. That's a double. And that's an object. What? No, that's not an object. That's a double. What? Oh, I think I need to... Yeah. There you go. Happy now? So that's the expense balance. And now we need to have something like double book balance equals 0. And we are going to do book balance plus equals expense balance. Right. And now before we return book, we need to update that. But book is final. Book is not final, but book expense, the expense property of book is final. So we're going to return a book. Oh, that's books. Damn it. I'm gonna have a problem again. Or maybe I don't have a problem if I have something like let's call that balanced books, and that's gonna be a list of book. And I'm gonna do balance books that add book copy with balance expense balance. Thank you very much, GitHub Copilot. Once again, you saved the day. Right. It doesn't like that because it kind of saved the day, but not really. I'm stupid. I am stupid. So that's the book balance. So we can call that simply balance then. There we go. So what you guys say? Thanks for following. Yes, thank you. Whoever is flying the plane I'm jumping out of for this drop needs to fix their aim. That would be insta-fluff. Yes, that would be. But that's probably the random number generator, actually. Drop. Who else here has gone actual parachuting? I kind of almost did. When I was in Vegas many years ago, we had the opportunity to jump from a perfectly working plane. But it was kind of expensive. It was the end of the vacation. I didn't have that much money left. And I thought, well, maybe I can use that money for something else instead of jumping out of a plane. So I did not. It's not that I didn't have the guts to try, I just didn't have the money to try. So. I think Danny is expressing some words that would have been caught by the profanity filter. So let's see how you guys doing. The Berem Camelot 666 is the best player, followed by Arigi Violin, and then myself, and then Gak, and then Takov, and then Wimpy, and then Danny, and then Phil. And I don't even see Monica in there. Right. Why is that book balance not working? Because I don't need it. That's why. So, yeah, for each book, we get the expenses for that book. Then we iterate over, well, we're actually folding the expenses into the balance, and then we copy that, and when we send that back. So let's have a look at how that looks. Well, that doesn't look anything because we need to put that in the home screen. All right. And that will be somewhere here. And we need to do book.balance. And now we do have balance actually. Null and null. I'm going to guess it didn't work as I expected. Also, maybe it's because we added some code and we need to how to restart that thing. Let's see the book repository. Let's go in here. Let's how to restart that. And there we go. We stopped into our function. Now, for each book, we get the expenses for that book. Yeah, 3 items. Okay. Now we're going to compute the balance, and the balance is minus 174, which means Alice owes money to Bob. Alright, and let's see if that has been displayed properly. Yes, and yes, because this new book doesn't have any expenses. So here we see that, sorry. Alice owes money to Bob. Let's have a look at that. Bob paid 125 francs for Alice. Alice paid 25 francs for both, so that's only 12 and a half that she gains on that, so that's about 112 and a half something. And then Alice owes 62 francs. So we were about 100 and yeah, so away. So that looks about right. 174 francs and 75 cents. I have a friend who started it off as a hobby and then moved to some competitive jumping. For his 100th jump, he did it fully naked with just the parachute backpack on him. Yeah. Right. Why not? Why not? I mean... Alright, so... Now, I have Alice and Bob, and I have a negative balance. So what I should write is... Alice owes 174.75 francs to Bob. And then we have our balance. He posted a photo of it on his Facebook account. Is that like a far away photo, or is that like close up? Because I don't see how Facebook would allow a close up. But anyway, not my not my Facebook. Sorry. I've been talking for an hour and a half and I didn't have anything to drink because I don't plan my streams as Monica does, with lots of nice tea. Ah, he covered certain areas with his hands. Okay. His eyes, I believe. No, don't. I don't have an hydrate command. I should have that. And I also should have either a tea or a bottle of water somewhere. But, you know, I'll do that when I do my next stream. Last thing I will do tonight, I want to update the home screen with the proper balance, and I will call it a night. So home screen, that's the home screen qubit. That's a book. That's the expense formulas for screen. There's the home screen. And so, let's see. That's the text I want to change. And I want to change that to something. Where can I change that? Oh, I have a lot of opportunity to change that because of the body. Children, statesbook.map. Okay. So, yeah, that's where I want to do that. So, book.balance less than 0. Then we have... Okay, let's do that. It's not what I want, but that's what I'm going to write. That is book.person A owes... How on earth can GitHub know that it's exactly what I want to write? Book.person A owes book.person B minus book balance francs. For now, I'm gonna have to change that later on, but that's actually not working. The method unary minus can't be unconditional, yeah, because the balance is potentially new, but it's not. How can it know that's exactly what I wanted to write? So let's see. What is it giving me now? It's giving me the right thing. It's really impressive that GitHub Copilot. So if balance less than 0, and that's once again gonna be that, then book person A owes person B minus book balance CHF. Otherwise, person B owes person B. Yeah. Well done, Monica. Alice owes Bob 174.75 francs. Dave owes Carol 0 francs. Well, I'm not gonna worry too much about an even balance, because that's not gonna happen that often. I'm gonna fix that another time. But I'm pretty happy with what I've done tonight. So I have now the balance on this screen, which is great. That's what I want to see. I launched the app. I arrive here on this first screen, and I see, okay, my first book, and Alice and Bob, and everything is okay. I'm going to delete this book, actually, because I can. And as you have seen, there's no confirmation. So let's go to... Good evening, White Rose 09. Welcome to the chat. Let's go to my list of tasks and add a to-do. Add confirmation dialog when deleting stuff. That's a general note. I do have stuff in there, right? Okay, let's bring Visual Studio Code back. So we now have the balance on this thing. That's great. I now have the name of who paid for who on this screen. That is great. I need to implement the edit expense thing. And I now have the name of the person on this screen here. So that is great. That is great. So on the list of things to do, if we just have a look, add confirmation dialog when deleting stuff. That's done. So Chrome is being a pain in the backside tonight. Do not allow an expense to be saved if paid for the same person that paid the expense or paid for nobody. Yeah. So basically, you can't pay for yourself or pay for nobody. If we go there, that is not allowed. That is not allowed either. Okay. Compute balance after any operation on expense. That's done. We've done that. When importing a book, manage invalid code. Yes. Because right now, if you type an invalid code, if you go to books and then import a book and then type some kind of code and it imports, nothing happens. Do not allow a book to be imported if it already has a non-null co-owner ID. So if I shared the book with someone and that someone has imported the book in their app, then it should not be able for anyone to import that book again. For now, anyway, because the structure of my database doesn't allow for that. So that's refactor home screen to use my list view, and then localize the app. I think next thing I will do is actually localize the app, because I have my own localization thing in pub.dev. .dev. Text. That has been published by me, French guy CH, and it's actually kind of popular. And I will use my own stuff because, you know, I wrote that, so why not use it to localize my app in at least French and, well, English, because that's the default language. So I think I'm gonna call that a night. 1 hour and a half of stream, not counting the false start, because I started my stream and well, the emulator didn't want to work. Visual Studio Code was a pain, so I had to reboot. Right, so that's the actual stream. 1 hour and a half is the actual stream. And also, I'm going to use my something that Wimpy taught me. That's the featured.chat thing. And if you are a Star Trek fan, then check out my podcast TRGreyhout at trgreyhout.org, and we are also recording live every Wednesday on Twitch, twitch.tv/TEGH podcast at 9 p.m. Central European time, so 8 p.m. UTC. It's a lot of fun. We make a lot of mistakes. Oh, thank you for the follow. Baron Camlost 666, welcome to the family. We're getting close to 110 followers. I'm gonna have to change my goal again, and I'm very happy about that. So yeah, check out our I actually can do a shout out to my channel, TEGH podcast, so you have the link. Also, follow Wimpy at Wimpy's World. Twitch.tv/Wimpy's World. Doing lots of crazy stuff with Ubuntu Mate on the GPD Pocket 3 as of late, but also weird and very awesome game streaming. We have played Hotshot Racing many times. Hopefully that's gonna get fixed one day. You know, one can only hope that they're gonna fix it and we can get back to that. Or I can buy a new GPU and then we can I can kick Wimpy's butt at Hotshot Racing, Hot Wheels Unleashed. Also follow Community Time. He's doing lots of crazy stuff too. Mainly, how's the game called? Stardew Valley or something. On Twitch. And who did I miss? Who is in the chat? And follow. Also, Jack BL doing some Flutter development. Eric, oh yeah. Follow Eric. Eric is doing some crazy data analysis thing in R. Yeah, so follow all those people. They are great people. They are my friends. And so you should definitely follow them just for that reason. Thank you. Let me bring that window back. Thank you, everyone, for joining me tonight, for exclamation mark dropping by. Bye. I will be back this weekend. Maybe tomorrow even. I don't know. Maybe not. Depending on how things go tomorrow. But definitely this weekend. I don't have the Little Angel this weekend. No, the next weekend. So I will. Well, I say that, but usually I end up doing stuff in the weekend. But I am planning on doing at least one stream during the day, either Saturday or Sunday. So stay tuned. Follow. You will get the notification. Follow those nice people in the chat. And I will see you for the next stream. Have a good end of day, night, morning, whatever it is in your area. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.